Evening viewers, the scissor trap, the half barrel or difference type trap, the talpex and the Tang. These are all the normal mole traps for an average small catcher. So I thought I'd do a little video about the basics. What to look for when you're after to buy a mole trap. So I shall start just with these. This really is for beginners. This is your scissor trap. You squeeze it together, squeeze the top together, and put this, what I would call the trigger plate, in here. And you just wiggle it a little bit till it comes loose, so that it's set very lightly. Put it into a trap, the tunnel, like so, and all comes along and catch them all. Now there are good varieties and bad varieties. These you can get, these ones are pretty good. And these are probably one of the most used traps in this country, at least. They're really good, they catch a lot of moles. You do get the other variety, which is this type. You probably see all these traps on eBay, pretty cheap. Some of them good, some of them not so good, some of them are terrible. It's basically the same kind of thing. You put this in here, put it in the middle, once you can get them, and give it a wiggle, and basically that's it set. But with these though, and get myself comfortable, with these I've had a couple of problems. Because, I want to show you this, you can see see the difference in size and length towards this part here and this part here. It means that when you put it into the tunnel, you put this into the tunnel, this is going to be on the bottom, and you press that into the soil to stabilise the trap, so that when the mole comes along, if it hasn't been pressed in, it can literally, mole will literally push the trap out of the way, and so you won't catch the mole. With these, because they're so much shorter, see that? Yeah. When you press these into the dirt to stabilise them, the trigger plate, as I call it here, can sometimes get pushed into the dirt, so that's almost flat. In fact, it's hit my hand before it's hit the bits actually hit the base of the mole run. Talking's not my strong point. So what I done with these was, where is it? What I done with these was bend the trigger plate. And see how the trigger plate pretty low down. With this, just bend it in half. It means that this won't get stuck into the dirt when you press it into the mole run. The other thing with these though is they're not so great because this, you can see this is pretty thin material. You can see this. And after a little while, start to bend right at the very end there. Start to bend, which means getting a really light, sensitive kind of trigger, not so easy. It's quite difficult. In fact, this is one of the trigger plates from the other scissor trap. You can see it's thicker and it doesn't bend. A lot better design. Also, for some reason, I don't know why, there's some spike in the middle here. What that was about, I don't know. Incidentally, talking about here, about beginners, these bits here, what I would call the lugs, the ears, they're meant to be bent to an angle where it makes, when you put it in, it pivots on that when it gets moved, so it becomes a lighter trigger for the mold trap. But for me, I just put it in and wiggle it a little bit, and that's really all it takes. A lot easier than control your traps and bending these, and it takes too long. Right, what will I talk about next? These, as you saw, these are the good traps. There are some right stinkers on eBay just now. I'll give you a little show what these things are like. Now, these look almost identical to these ones. I know this one's newer, obviously, it's hardly been used, but there are one tiny little difference, and the reason they're so stinky, two reasons. When this closes, they're still, so what? See, it's not closing correctly, and that is because of this joint here. Now, I bought 5 of these from eBay, and they did not last very long. In fact, here's one that lasted about a week. It snapped, absolutely junk. This one snapped at the pivot point. One of the other ones snapped at the weld bit, and this is one of the things you look for if you should see one of these traps. Well, when you're looking at both of these traps, you'll see that this one is pressed, machine pressed. I think that's how they make them. Have a look. See that there? Machine pressed, and on the inside it's smooth. There's nothing there. It's a bit dirty, I know, but there's nothing there. However, on the crappy one, you can see it's welded. These are the ones you want to avoid. Do not buy this utter junk. You do not last long. This jam up here, total waste of money. Right, so try and get comfortable. Now, is there anything else I can say about these? For the beginner, probably one of the best. They're easy, don't take much hand strength, they're easy to set. You literally just, when you're putting in the hole, you just cut around about it, stick it in. I mean, it's so easy. You get a good space underneath, the mold can get in there. Doesn't take much to get them out at all. Really good. I suppose what's the bad things, they're easy to see, they can get knocked over, they can get nicked. Especially these the silver ones here, they shine out if a poacher's out with a lamp at night, and well, a magpie, he's out with a lamp at night, this will shine like a torch, and you'll be able to mold trap. Right, I think that is everything for that. We'll go to the next one. I'll try and make this video as quick as possible because there's so much to talk about. But let's see, the half barrel or doofus trap. Most of these traps are okay. It's basically just some ones are better than the other for various small reasons. There's the lead in here. This one is the Defender's mole trap. Now I start it off with these. I noticed my there's a few subtitle users starting to get a bit higher when I'm talking, but I'll try and speak as proper English as I can. These are thin wire doofus traps. You can see here that these are easily adjusted. The Defenders. Now when you're adjusting these, the bits to adjust are a little trigger wire underneath here. Squeeze it and bend it forward. Now you notice I could easily do that with my fingers, and all you need is a little pair of pliers to adjust these. See this here, just squeeze it. Take this out. Whenever you're putting these away, always put the little wire there underneath there, because these come off really easily and they fall off probably in the ground, in your bag. You never find them again. So always touch them in there. Right, where was I? Yep. These bits, just squeeze them in, bend them forward. Now the reason you're wanting to bend them forward is to set this. Right, let's have a look. Now this bit here, you want the mold to be just coming through here when it touches that. Right. That bit there. So it's best if you bend it a little bit forward, because if they are, say, bent normal wise, it takes quite a bit. The time we've pushed that into the firing position, the moles, basically just its arse that's hanging out. You want to kill them as quickly as possible, so doing it this way means that it gets across the chest, and kills them a lot quicker. Less likelihood of the mole literally ripping the trap out of where you've set it and maybe going for a walk with it. So there's that. Now let's see if I can do this. I can show you this. Now these traps, because they're thin wired, just here, they're actually quite easily set off, just with a slight bend in that. If you want it even more, you can just, I can do this. See with this bit here, just push it a little bit forward. This might go off my fingers. You're even very easily moving, so that it's just on the edge of this little bit here. I have some there. This little bit here. Now, as you'll see, this will go off really easily. So, the thin wire trap, to me, is a better trap because it's so easily adjusted, especially for a beginner. I'll be showing you a thick wire trap just in a second. Now with these thin wire trap, with various things to do, but I forgot my pliers, obviously, I forgot some. Just get a plier and bend these flat. Get these both. I'm going to show you actually. You can use them just as they are, but with a kind of round bit here. But it does, I think, help if it is a flat, because when you push that in the soil, it actually goes underneath the soil and the mole can't see it or feel it. Plus it also widens this bit a little bit, but unfortunately it kind of shortens it too, right enough. But right, let's now this one is the Defenders. This one was bought and it had no, it had no name to it, but when I got them it did say Triple H Hunting on it. They're not bad traps, pretty thick wire, will last you a long while. The only thing with thick wire traps is adjusting them. Adjusting them is an absolute nightmare, but there are ways to do it. Also, let's see, right, it's a thick wire underneath here. Now adjusting that forward without kind of messing this up, virtually impossible with your fingers unless you're very strong. Unless you get very strong fingers, but I do not. Also, because it's so thick, see, this one isn't too bad, but some of them, keep your eye out for some of them because there is a bit of space. There is a bit of space right here. Now this one's okay, so is that one, but sometimes there's a space there, which means when you put that down, you're putting it into the trap, put it into the tunnel. This can actually, we're looking at this here, when you push that into the tunnel, that can actually push up and out, so that when the trap, if the trap goes off, this doesn't go anywhere, it stays where it is. Again, it's easy enough with these just to push them a little bit forward. This is how you want to bend the front. See how far that is actually bent backwards. The mole goes in there. By the time it is, let's see, that's right on the edge. See how far that is? It's going to catch the back. Oh, there you go. It's going to catch the back of the mole, and the mole might pull the trap out. It's not going to be killed instantly. Right, so to get these bent without destroying this part, let's see, there's a little trick to it. And have I brought everything? I bet I haven't. There's a screwdriver. Oh, I've got it. Yeah. If you want to bend these forward, you need a spanner, a little circle bit here, a screwdriver. This will do a really good job of bending it forward. And all you do is just put that over that. Get this on camera. Oh, it's all gone, Pete, Tang. There we go. Oh, put forward, put this in here. This is probably all going to slip. And then just push it forward. Oh. Push it forward so video. Push it forward so that it'll bend without kind of wrecking the top part here. As you can see, and it's done. Both of these traps pretty good, and they will last you a good while. They're strong, well worth the money. I think, what did I pay for them? I think the Defender was a little bit more, but roughly about, how much was it? I think it was last year I bought them. £30, round about that. Both good traps, last a good while. Right, what next? I shall do the Tang. No. The Tang is a French trap. It's very underused in this country. I don't know why, because it is an absolute cracking trap. The only thing, I think the thing about most folk is you have to buy two to do a mole run. Just brought the one with me. Right, just brought the one with me, so show you. Professional work, professional video maker. And here we go. You need one of these little tools. You can get the pliers. These do take a certain amount of strength in your hand, actually. So do these, your half barrels. If your hands aren't that strong, you're better off with the scissor trap, because you do take a bit of strength in your thumb. It will actually kind of hurt your thumb a bit. Actually, before I go on, I will show you how I set mine. I'll try to anyway. Right, let's see if I can do this. What I do is, normally I will put my fingers here so that I can move this to adjust it. On the top, I put my thumb halfway across. You also need a good pair of gloves. Alright, halfway across, push it forward, bring the little piece of metal wire, and then you have to do this with your finger. You can move that to put it over the little hook, kind of trigger hook, and that is basically that. Quite simple. When you're new to this, it will kind of hurt your thumb a bit. There's not much, you'll get used to it. It's not a serious pain, especially if you're doing about maybe 30 in an hour or something, or whenever. It will wear out your gloves and it will wear out your thumb. That's it half. So you do need a certain amount of hand strength for the half barrels, and for these, the Tangs, they are a very simple French trap. Been around since, I believe, the 14th century. This is a bit rusty, as you can see. There are two types. There is the normal steel Tang, and then there's the stainless steel Tang. which apparently won't rust. I don't have any, so I can't really talk about them. But with these, if they get a bit rusty, that's sandpaper. Doesn't take much. Sandpaper, a bit of file. Just where the little trigger square goes, and about there, you just put it in and move it off. There really didn't need to be that much else to it. Yeah. So you can see that. But they're easily done. Now to set them, very easy. So you need a certain amount of strength. You can get the pliers, which makes it a lot easier. But these are little cheap alternatives. And you can see there are some little kind of holes, half holes in there, and they go in between your tang. You just push them apart, and you can catch it with your thumb about there, and that holds it open. I should really give that a little solid sandpaper, and then you just gently let it go if you can. You want it not too deep, and you want this just forward, and then that is basically them set. Now the thing with these traps is they are extremely versatile. They can go just about anywhere. You can set them flat, on the side, on the back, round corners. Because there's two normally, like an idiot, I forgot another one. There'll be two here, and you get either two bits of sticks, a little bit of wire like this, that goes in. You have to peg these down, because these go into the mole run, and that's another thing about these, is when you do a normal scissor trap stuff, you've got to dig out the mole run, and the mole knows there's something wrong because you've dug out the whole these run, these tunnel. So these, you push them, you dig it out, and then you push them in to the tunnel. So when the mole comes along, there's absolutely no disturbance to the tunnel at all. So all he sees is this, all he feels is this really. I say you need two of these, maybe joined to each other or separate, depends how far apart the tunnel is. There they go all various directions. Let's see. Now how it comes along is, you need this little piece of string. Without the little piece of string, when this gets triggered, it will ping away, you will never fin it again. So it's basically just the mole comes along in here, and like so, sees this, pushes it down, and boom, a mole trap snapped. Extremely good. I mean, there's so many ways to use these things. Like if you open up a tunnel for, say, your half barrel trap, you set it up, and then you suddenly realise that there's a little hole that you hadn't seen coming from the side, and at the side. With this, because you don't want the mole coming in here through the side, if you didn't have one of these, you'd have to give it up, you just fill it all back in. But you did, you just put this in at the side, so if the mole comes along here, it's trapped before it hits this trap. Very, very useful, extremely useful. I would advise you buying them, but here's the thing, when you get them new, they can be a bit of a nightmare to set, because are very smooth, are very shiny. These will ping out all the time without even the slightest kind of touching on them, because they're just, it's so, the metal, both metals are so smooth that it won't really grip them too good. But all you do, put them in the soil for a day or two, they'll start to get a little bit of roughness to them. Then put that in. That's fine, make sure you've got them good. I would thoroughly recommend these traps, even to a beginner. Get used to them, try and master these traps, because they're very good. Right, what next? What haven't I not done? The talpex, I suppose. Have I done everything else? Yep. Talpex. Basically a different type of scissor trap. Look at it. There are various types on the market, eBay. Most of them are okay. If you're looking for a good one, note that on this one the springs are quite close together. See the space in between the springs? That means it's quite strong. That is quite a strong little trap. Most people would be able to use this, I reckon, but there's a little bit of strength there. It is an unusual trap in that the mold doesn't actually touch like a trigger. Where's that trigger? Doesn't touch a trigger like this one here or whatever. What it actually does, I'll show you how to set this. It's got a little plate here. See that? Got a little plate with a hole in it. And what you do is, I'll try and do this, you know. Let's see. Put the little bit of thing through there, and that holds it. You see? Now, turn that slipping down. Now, the mole doesn't usually touch the trap. Quite a wide area to go. This goes into the mole tunnel, and then what you do is you fill the tunnel kind of back up with soil underneath. You put a little a plug of soil underneath here. Now what this is supposed to do is, when you're setting it, actually put this, see if I can see this, just press this down till it becomes flat, almost flat with a piece of metal there, so that's as sensitive as possible. Now, the mole comes along, thinks the tunnel's had a bit of a cave in, comes through here, and it's knocking the, I don't know, my finger's getting caught, it knocks the dirt up. It knocks the dirt up. The dirt goes against this bit. I don't know if it's going to catch my fingers. I'll just have to hold this so it'll probably cross my fingers, but okay. And as it pushes up, poof, it gets caught that way. So it never actually feels the trap. So it is a very handy little trap, especially if you've got a mole that is somewhat educated in mole traps, and you can get moles that are educated in mole traps. They are very extra wary ones that as soon as anything at all is in the tunnel, they will just block up and dig around about it. But they are handy little traps. They're best, you can use them in kind of wet soil, but it's best for sandy, light, dry soil in the summer especially. There's a few out in the market. Most of them are okay. Say watch out for the spring. The only other kind of thing is sometimes they will get knocked about, and some of these might get bent. Let's see if I can see a little metal bit in here that goes right along. If you buy one of these and you find that when it gets to the top here, see how there's a space just here, or in about that, it becomes kind of jammed. It's because these little metal rods that go from here to here can get bent. You'll see them, they're kind of arched rather than straight. They're easily fixed. You just, if you've got a vise, put it in a vise and either a screwdriver and a hammer to straighten that little metal rod out, and it'll work fine. So that is that, I think. That's me by. I think I've said just about everything. No, I haven't. One thing, the golden rule with all these traps. All these traps is no smells. Don't be out clapping your dog and then setting these traps. Drinking, smoking, all the good things. If you're out with a girlfriend, wash your hands. No smells. And all it expects to smell in its tunnel is dirt, worms, other moles. If it smells WD-40 or your girlfriend's perfume, you're not going to catch them all. Oh, now actually I have forgotten something. With these, the tangs, when you dig out the tunnel, put these in, you don't really need to fill them back in with dirt. What you do is, if you're like me, and you like your ice cream, and you like your DVDs, just put this over the top of the hole, put dirt over the top of it, or this, it's just a DVD cover, cut in half, pint of these about, pint of ice cream tubs about, I'm sure you'll have some about. Incidentally, this is what I use for cutting out the tunnels, cutting the holes in the tunnels. Really cheap, I think they're called steak knives, Poundland. You get about 5 of them. Put some electrical tape, quite a lot, to make it the kind of wooden handle, pretty strong. Make it a bright colour so you don't lose it. And that is pretty much what I use. In the winter, the moles will go deeper, so you might need a shovel to get down to them. But if it's in your garden, normally this will do. They'll run along the hedges and beside parts of your garden. Should be okay. So I think that is me done. So hopefully some of this information. Buy some good gloves. These are cheap. They're not waterproof. They just keep most of the human smell off you. Make sure you rub your hands in dirt before you set any of these traps. Is that me finished now? Or will I just keep blabbing on for the rest of it? Right, that's me gone. Hope some of this information helps. I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.